Right, let's start after the break. Hope you can understand how to make necessary adjustments for errors. Actually, I don't want to discuss about change in accounting estimates because already we have done it with case number 16. You can remember last week or 1 week before we did how to do adjustments for change in useful lifetime and how to do adjustments for change in depreciation method, etc. Right? So therefore, I don't want to do it again, but just see. It's again something about errors. Look, this one example number 2 here. A company purchased a machine for 110,000 on 1/10/2013. Its useful lifetime is estimated as 5 years and residual value is 10,000. On 1st October 2014, exactly after how many years? 1 year. 20,000 worth of accessories are fixed to the machine, that is include long-term efficiency of the machine. It means we have to recognize it as part of cost. As a result of that addition to the machine, useful lifetime has been increased by another 3 years from 1/10/2014 and residual value has been increased by 2,000 accordingly. Now what is your task? If you write an answer properly, what you have to say first? This kind of a story again. First what you have to tell? You have to say that this is kind of accounting what? What is the story first? Estimate change. So that's the first point. You have to recognize it as change in accounting estimate, which is coming under L case number 8. Yes, right? L case number 8. So this is partly mixed with L case 16 also because depreciation is there. Right? So then accordingly the second point you have to say, since it is change in accounting estimate, this should be adjusted how? Prospective application, right? Then third point, you have to prove with calculations. How to take this prospective application? What is the year? You can take now, we are in, but be careful with calculations here, little difficult. This is 2013 October, somewhere here. October 2013. Our accounting year started from, it means yes, 1/4/13 to it goes 31st March 14 and next year will be 31st March 15. These are years, right? This accessories, this was purchased. This is purchased on this date. Was spent in 110,000, and accessories were fixed to the machine. Then plus 20 here on the same date. Right? We add 20, and residual. Then total value will be 130. That minus 10. Right? So then it is residual value divided by what? Useful lifetime is 5 years. Then somewhere here in the middle of the year, I made a mistake. Accessories fixed on 1st October 2014, sorry. Yes. Where is it? Then October 14, we added 20. This is a story, right? What is depreciation for the first year from this point to this point? Depreciation 110 minus 10 divided by 5. It's 20, but remember 110 minus 10 divided by 5 means 20, but 20 out of 20, 10 for this period and 10 for this period. Understand? Why? The financial year ended by this date. Understand? Depreciation. Then we added another 20 here. And from this point onwards, depreciation for this period is how much? Yes, now 110 plus 20 means 130. 130 minus residual value has been increased by how much? 2000. Then residual value will be 12,000, not 10. 12 divided by 5 into how many years? 6 months. Then what is? Not 5. Made a mistake. What has happened? By another 3 years, sorry. It means how many years? Altogether? Not 5. How many has gone already? 1 year gone. Originally estimated as 5 years. 1 year gone means balance 4 plus another 3, altogether 7. This should be divided by 7. How much is it? 130 minus 12 divided by 7 into 0.5. It's around 8.4. Depreciation for this period will be 8.4. One more way. Another mistake I did. What is it? When you calculate like this, I have to reduce what? Balance depreciation also. This 20 also should be subtracted. By previous depreciation also should be subtracted. Because you are dividing the carrying value by balance useful lifetime. Then both the things, 20, this is residual value, right? This is residual value. This is total depreciation up to that date. 130 minus 20, 130 minus 20 minus 12. Divided by 7, 14 half means not 8.4, it is 7. Then total depreciation for the period will be how much? (130 minus 20 minus 12 divided by 7 into 0.5 means 7. Total depreciation for the year will be 17. Now what is my carrying value on this date? Carrying value on that date. How much is it? What is cost of the asset? 130 by 110 plus that 20, 130. 130 minus total accumulated depreciation. 130 minus here 10, here 10, here 7, altogether 27. This is my carrying value on the balance sheet is 103. Now, if you write a complete answer for this kind of question, how to write? Now we have calculation, all statistics with us. Now how to say? You have to say, as I said previously, this is part of change in accounting estimate, which is coming under LKS number 8. All accounting estimate changes should be adjusted prospectively. Accordingly, the first half of the current year, depreciation will be 10. based on based on its cost and residual value. And 20 should be added on 10th October 2014. As a result of that, now total cost will be 130,000, right? And residual value has been increased by 2, therefore new residual value will be 12. Accordingly, second 6 months depreciation will be how much? Then you can say it's 7. You can show the calculation there, we need, right? Accordingly, total depreciation for the whole year will be 17. It should be charged to profit and loss account as an expense. And carrying value at the end of the year means 2015 end will be cost minus accumulated depreciation. It means 130 minus 27, it is 103, right? So that's all. If you are smart enough, you can write double entries, right? Not smart, yes. Okay. So better PO accountants, they should be able to write double entries as well. So what is double entry to rectify this? Yes. Accountant should know. Only and double entry. It's easy work. Here there is no big thing. We don't reverse anything. No? Double entries, current year depreciation, profit and loss account debit, accumulated depreciation, ready? The 20, asset account debit. Yeah, in the current year, asset account debit, cash or bank credit. That's it. But it is not essential. Right. One more story from this. Even though we learned this kind of things, this is the examination question last time. Look. Blend in LKS 38 and LKS 8. Maybe one last year or one before last year. One of the examination question anyway. As a story. This is from errors. Why can't you switch on this? Can't switch on this. Oh. Oh. You should inform the Chiran, then he will do some adjustments. Otherwise, it's quite difficult to read from that. So, right. What's your opinion on this? Is it hard? Easy? This is, as I remember, 8 marks, maybe 10 marks. Little big work. Can you remember now LKS 38? You have to understand little about LKS 38 because all the points are given. According to LKS 38, I told you research expenditures cannot be recognized as part of intangible. Development expenditure can be recognized as intangibles if certain conditions are satisfied. Right? So anyway, now it says very clearly the story. They say this is part of development expenditure, and they have recognized it as an expense even though it is development. So later only they have identified that the conditions are satisfied. So purely what is this now? Nature. Partly LKS 38, now you can refer something about LKS 38 also, but the facts are given as it is there. According to LKS 38, development cost should be recognized as part of intangible asset. If certain conditions are satisfied, they say conditions are satisfied here. Therefore, no worries on that. So thereafter, what you have to do? Thereafter? Now, since it can be capitalized, what we have now, we have to capitalize, but they have recognized already it as how? An expense. Already they have recognized it as an expense. Now we are in the year of 2012, assume. Now we are in the year of 2012, right? So I have not updated years here. As I remember, this is 2013 question, right? Second batch, the third, maybe second batch, 13 or 14 question. Now, how do you act on this? That is part of the answer. You can have only 1 mark for that. Referring to LKS 38, no need to have numbers. Anyway, you should know development cost can be recognized as part of intangible if certain conditions are satisfied. Anyway, story is given. That's 1 mark. What else? Then you have to come into LKS 8. Since they have not recognized it as intangible and it has been recognized as expense, what is this? Out of those 3 in LKS 8. What classification? What is it? It is an error, very clear. Why? Not change in accounting policy, not estimate change. This is exactly an error. Then you should say, error should be adjusted retrospectively. Look, now already you have earned 2 or 3 marks without having any calculation. That is preset answer. Why? You can study it and come. That's studies now. So you at least you remember all these points and come for the exam. You can do something by referring to the case. That's the easiness of cases. If I ask what are the criteria to recognize development cost into books of accounts? You have to memorize as it is and come. So it's quite difficult work, right? I don't ask like that therefore. It's quite difficult, right? Even sometimes we can't memorize all these points as it is. You just remember now, if certain conditions are satisfied, you can do that. Right? What are the conditions, if you can remember? Economic and technical feasibility, intention to complete, measurability of cost, probability of having economic inflows. One more I missed. Right? So those are the conditions. I missed one. Measurability of cost, probability of cost, intention. Availability of resources, right? So then, if those conditions are there, you can capitalize. Anyway, you don't want to look at that now because facts are given. So how do you do this now? Then you can have another 1 mark importantly. Therefore, total impact of this story to its profit should be adjusted. Most recent prior year retained profit brought forward. What is that date? Identification of that date, you can have 1 mark. What should be? That should be 30th September 2010. Why? This is my comparative year. This is comparative year. This is current year. Current year. So therefore, retained profit brought forward will be 2010, 30th September 2010. Now how do we act on that? Now you have to find out total impact. What is the total impact? Right. Now, how do you adjust this? What's the total impact of this as at this date? How much is it? Already you have recognized how much as an expense, this too as an expense. As a result of that, your profit has been undercasted or overcasted. Expense දාපුවම මොනවද වෙන්නේ? Profit has been overcasted or undercasted. Expense දාලා තියෙන දැන්. Then what has happened? Already they have charged this as an expense. එහෙමනේ asset එකක් විදියට නෙමෙයි, they have recognized it as an expense. It means what has happened to profit? Undercasted, right? දැන් මම මෙහෙම කරපුවාම now you just think it has been overcast. Then you say it's overcasted, right? I know the signal learning we call it. Right, then if I ask profit has been, so you should say it's overcasted. No, it's undercasted, right? So then profit has been undercasted by how much? 540. On the other side, you say this line, it's very clear. What is their policy? To amortize their capital development expenditures over how many years? But it will be started from the subsequent year. Yeah, it is there. That point, where is that? Yes. Assume amortization commences at the beginning of accounting period of the following capitalization. That means from next year onwards, right? So that means out of this 300 divided by how many years? 4 years. It means 75 should be recognized as expense for which year? This year. Out of 240, 1/4 means 60 should be recognized as expense for which year? Next year. Understand? Then anyway, first point you have to clear. What is the total impact as of 30th September 2010? Total impact to profit as a result of this error as at 30th September 2010 is how much? Huh? Is that how much? Yes. Difference between these two. Why? Here, profit as a result of these two, profit overestimated or underestimated? Underestimated by 540 as a result of non-amortization. They are not amortized. What is amortization expense? 75. The net of that will be how much? How much it is? Huh? 465. My profit has been undercasted by 465. Is it clear? That should be the first point you have to understand. If you need double entry, it is not essential in the exam even. How to write the double entry? Intangible asset debit, how much? You have to restate these figures. Intangible asset debit 540. Retained earnings credit, how much? 400? 465. Retained earnings credit 465 and we have to credit balance. $75 we have to credit. Provision for amortization, or you can say asset account, intangible credit. Intangible credit or provision for amortization credit, both are correct. Understand? Same thing we did previous, if you can remember, for 14, 20 minus 6, previous story. Same thing. Now what about next? Look, the answer here. This is presentation. Look, these are the amounts they have written off already. Now this 540 minus this 75, total impact to 4765. We have already reversed. Because my most recent retained profit brought forward will be this date. This date. Right? So that is done already. What is next? Then what is 2011 amortization? They have not amortized at all. Then what is 2011? Means this year amortization. How to take this much? 135. Second year amortization. From first year we take 75. First year means from this 75. Yeah. From this 307, from that 75, somebody has taken note this presentation. Testing. 75 and from 240, how much? 60. How to take 60? 240 divided by? From that 240 and look. Understand? Then it's 135 for the second year. Not second year. Third year means 2011. It is our comparative year. Got it? Now as a result of that, now also this 800 we have to reverse. We have to restate. How? Intangible asset debit. We have to credit. Cash to bank credit because they have spent that money for the comparative year. And this 135 profit and loss account debit. For 135 double entry for this P&L debit, profit and loss account debit, and we have to credit. Asset account O, amortization, provision for amortization or asset account credit. Got it? Then at the end of the period, you see now, total amortization. Now, what is total intangible asset value? 300 plus, 240 plus, 800. Total 1340 is there. That minus total amortization expense was that 75 plus 135. Total will be 210. Then carrying value of intangible asset is 1130. At the end of 2011. Now we are coming to the current year. There should not be any impact to the current year if it is retrospective. Now how to incorporate it? Now current year again we have to add to asset account. How much? 400. Asset account debit, cash or bank credit. Because they spend it. Right? Asset account debit, cash or bank credit. Right? And what is amortization for the current year? 335. How to take 335? It is sum of all these. 75 from the first year plus 60 from the second year plus years exactly. 200 200 from the 30th. Then 60 plus 75 plus 200 will be 335. Then finally you can see, it should be 4, I think. Something has, no, it's, how much is it? Yes, it's correct, no? 65, sorry. The net impact of that is 65. No need, right? Anyway. Now this goes to that year profit and loss account. P&L debit, amortization expense credit. Finally, this is carrying value you have to show on the face of the statement of financial position. Now, if you write an answer, balance part, this is part of calculation. You have to do it. You have to take this calculation and see what are the figures you have to produce for the answer. I told you a few points already to write in the answer. You have to say that this is coming part of intangible, and development cost can be recognized as part of asset. Intangible, if certain conditions are satisfied, we have to say. Also, we have to tell that since it has been recognized as development cost recognized as expense in previous years, it is an error. Error should be adjusted retrospectively according to LKS 8. Those points qualitative ones, so all. And you have to say retrospective application should be used. Accordingly, most recent possible year should be 30th September 2010. The total impact for 2009 and 10 should be adjusted to retained profit brought forward as at 30th September 2010. That total impact is, if you need, you can now say, how much? We identified it. 465. 465. If you need further, you can say it should be restated as how? Asset account debit 540, amortization provision credit 75, and retained earnings credit difference 465. Yes, 465. It is not essential anyway. Thereafter, you have to say for the comparative year of 2011, profit and loss account should be charged by 135 as amortization expense. At the end of the 2011, net book value will be how much? 1130. Also for the 2012, look, the number of points you have to write. 2012, 335 should be charged as amortization expense. Also, I missed one point here. 800 I didn't say. This 800 and 400 should be recognized as part of intangible asset. Right? So if you need, you can say double entry. 800 and 400, 1200 should be debited to asset account and credit to cash or bank of 2 different years. And what else? Yeah, 335 I told, we had to write off as an expense. And finally, carrying value of this intangible asset at the end of 2012, 30th September is 1195. That is perfect answer. Right? So, you have to decide how to write now, right? Right. I don't expect double entries anyway. I feel like if you know the point, without calculation, you can do something. At least, that is minimum requirement. You can score nearly 35%, 40 from any case without having any calculation. That means you have to explain the qualitative effect, referring to a relevant point. Otherwise, it is not so. You can't get marks. But balance part, you have to do something with calculation and prove it. Hope you can understand how to write an answer now for this kind of small scenarios. But look, even in past papers, we have this kind of stories. Everywhere, different small questions asking your opinion. That is about financial accounting. Now, my question is, we have time to start the next. We have 15 minutes. Let's run through this quickly. I don't want to explain more on this. Very simple. Again, another 3 things. In each stand, now look, in LKS 2, we made 2 terms, adjusting, non-adjusting story. In LKS 18, revenue, we made 5 items. What are those 5 items? Sale of goods. That's how we can memorize. Otherwise, you can't memorize. If you don't know that point, you can't memorize anything. What you do, you try to memorize all these small points. You can't do that. First, you have to have the broad scope. What is that? That is the point. First, you have to memorize. In LKS 18, revenue, we discuss only 5 things. Sale of goods, rendering service, interest income, dividends, royalties. If you don't know that point, you can't get first few marks, right? Then only you can refer it. If I am talking something about interest, you should say, this is something about interest. Interest should be recognized accrual basis for the incurred year according to LKS number 18, because the guidance is there. If I am talking about something about royalty or rendering service, you should say, this is discussed somewhere there in LKS 18 revenue. So that's how we can score very easily. If you know that point, only if you know, I can brief it very easily. Within the revision, I'll do it. So then in 10, we discuss only 2 points, adjusting, non-adjusting. In 8, we discuss 3 things, right? Policies, estimates, and errors. So that's how you can refer it very easily. It's very easy now. What is it? 38, we discuss only few points. What are those? Intangibles. Research cost, development cost together, softwares, operating and system, training cost, development cost, patent rights, licenses, external generated goodwill. That's it. So likewise, you have to have a checklist with you. Mostly you don't have it. Then this is very easy. You have to write it somewhere. These are the main points. You can take everything into one paper, I am sure. Then in LKS 16, what we did some definitions. It is not important that much. Revaluation something. If I am talking about something about revaluation, you have to refer that. That's easiness. Then you can memorize easily. Revaluation, then disposal of assets, depreciation, review of useful lifetime, and change in accounting policy. Sorry, change in depreciation method. That's it. That's the content. In LKS 2, inventories, only 1 point. That's it. Inventory should be valued at lower of cost and NRV. Based on that, everything we did. For cost, there are 2 methods, FIFO and WAC. For NRV, there are 2 methods, grouping method and item by item basis method. That kind of structure you should have, then only you can memorize all these points. I am talking about for the examination. Then when it comes to this thing, that's it, no? We discuss. 60. What else? Is that all? I can't remember. In accounting framework, how many points? 6 points. So that is the starting point. Otherwise, you can't memorize. You will feel like this is very big stories otherwise. You take it one piece of paper, only few points for each. No? So then it is very easy to memorize all these. That's how we memorize everything. What you do, usually you start from the down. That means if you draw it like decision tree, the last 4 we will have a lot of items. You are trying to catch that one straight away. You can't memorize. You have to start from the first one, like even the previous one, you have to start from the first one. What is first point? There are 3 things. Then you go down and memorize one by one based on your capacity. What you do usually, you start from the down, having all these small points. You can't memorize it. Even though you read it, within few seconds you will forget it. Reason, you don't have the structure in your mind. First put the structure into your mind. Then within last week, even you can do studies. That is the more important, because I don't ask definitions now. You don't want to memorize definitions. But only few points, like thereafter you can go for the balance. First you take policies, errors and estimates. If you can't remember that 3, you can't do anything thereafter. Then policies and other thing, errors, retrospective, the other one prospective. Retrospective, 2 methods, application and restatement. Then I told another point, consistency. You can violate consistency in 2 occasions. That's it, no? Theory-wise. Any question you can cover with that. Thereafter you have to remember errors and other things when you go with retrospective application, adjusted to recent retained profit brought forward. That's it. Thereafter, balance part actually you can't memorize and come for the exam. Why? It depends on the calculation. You can't practice it. So therefore this subject, the content wise, very easy compared to others. You will not believe, but the way of studying is different. Mostly people start with small points without having the structure in your mind. If you start from the first level, though, the top of this, the work will be very easy. Usually what you do, you start from the bottom of the work. Then it's very difficult to study. That's why people say it's difficult to memorize, it's like very big things. But everything will be jumbled at the end. Why? You can't memorize anything. Take the structure only first. Keep for 2-3 weeks that structure, keep into permanent memory. Thereafter your work will be very easy, you see. But today's one, same no. You start with the studying is very easy. And answering for this is very easy. Only thing, calculation part will be little bit tough. But doesn't matter, if you need to pass the exam, you can pass it very easily without having big calculations. Small calculations also, they are no anyway. Right. What I can do is now, no time to do this provision, contingent liability and contingent asset. I will take this one to next week. Otherwise, I will not be able to complete this finally. And hopefully you can have a summary because this is important. LKS 8 will be affected to all other standards. Look, I can mix LKS 8 with different standards. If I need, I can mix this one with 5-4 WSC story there. Where? LKS 2. And take it as kind of error. Right? They have used, let's say, 5-4 instead of LIFO, something like. Right? So that kind of mistake can be considered as an error and merge with this thing. 38 I can blend with this. We did one, no? 16 already we have done. Depreciation we blend with this. Events after reporting period also we can blend with this. Adjusting, non-adjusting. Some adjusting events you have to go back and change. And everything can be coupled with this. So therefore this is important kind of base standard. So remember how to incorporate errors, change in accounting policies and all. Since I have 5 minutes. I think, no, we come because 37 should be together taken with this. I have some questions to discuss with you. This is also part with 37 provisions. So that's why I'm not going to discuss. I'll take discussion to next week. Then next week after this, I'll start revision. I'll do 37, LKS 37 next week. It will take only maximum of 45 minutes. Then the last 2 hours, the balance 2 hours, I'll do revisions. I'll start revision. Covering all other areas. So I'll start from Professor Jayama's areas like he did accounting equation. Yeah, I'll tell you accounting equation with perpetual and periodic, something like that. What else he did? He told me to do all divisions. What are the other areas? Partnerships he did, I think. Preparation of financial statements for all partnerships he did. I did company accounting financial statements part. So therefore I'll take some questions from those areas first. Partnerships, sole proprietorships, company, from that 3. Right? Accounting. Suspense accounts also he did. It's purely double entry, no? So I'll not do that, right? So people who are not familiar with double entries, I'm sure they can't understand it. So anyway, we'll see. I'll check the areas he has done and I'll take at least one question from each area and I'll do on the board with answers, right? So I'll upload the tute better if you can try it and come for the class next week. I'll take 1 hour for this thing, 37, and thereafter we have another 5 hours for me to do revisions, and Jayama sir will do ratio analysis within next 2 weeks. But probably we will have 2 sessions for accounting next week. One will be taken by me and another one from Professor Jayama. So therefore we will have 2 because we are 1 week behind, I think, right? So therefore we have to have 2 sessions probably within next week. And let's see the rest of the weeks later, right? Okay, then all the very best for you. I think you have to start first your examination work now. 1 month, you will start the studies now. Otherwise, at the last minute, you will not be able to do all these. People who are not coming now, so they have to start their work now. Did you calculate how many video hours you have to study? Just calculate and see. Even without sleeping, you can't study these. You can't read, at least you can watch these videos. Not to study, you can't watch these even. If you need, you can calculate 3 into 15 into 3 hours, 15 weeks, 6 subjects, right? How much is it? 6 into 15 into 3 is 270. hours. Divide by 24. Straight away you have to spend 11 days without having eating, sleeping, anything. Right? Still you can't do. That is not practical. Right? You need to have 12 days. That means you have to study you have to start your work prior to 12 days. You plan to do so. Right? 270 divided by, let's say, if you watch, let's say, 3 videos for a day. 27 divided by 3. You need to have how many days? Oh, not 3. 27 divided by 9. You need to have 30 days to watch all these. Right? Not to study. Watching means you can't do it. No, just see. That's it. Right? You can't learn like that. You have to rewind and see every time, at least 2-3 times. Otherwise, you can't take all these. Right? Okay. Anyway, now you start your work, and we'll see you next week. Thank you very much for participation today.